Hey everyone, I'm ZupeMan here again, and I am here to finish off the trio of major E3 impressions this week. The big three, of course, being Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. And I've already covered the first two, so now it is Nintendo's turn. This one was really important to me because I love Nintendo. I do. I like them a lot, but there's no getting around the fact that they've been a pretty horrendous company for a long time. And when I say horrendous company, that has no bearing whatsoever on the games that they've provided, because their first-party stuff is pretty stellar, and I've enjoyed it a lot on the Wii, the Wii U, the 3DS, and all that stuff. So I don't really have a problem in that respect, but they lost third party, as we know. They don't really have a lot of that going on for them, so they pretty much have to rely on the stuff that they're going to be cranking out, which, for when it comes to E3, is kind of troubling. First-party games will sell consoles. It'll make certain people say, I want this instead of this, and that's why I picked this console, because of the certain games that they know that they can expect, you know, through whatever franchises or whatever. But third-party content is what sells a metric fuck ton. I mean, Call of Duty is still the game every year, as far as I'm aware, that sells pretty much more than anything. So Nintendo coming along with their own thing was kind of like, how much are they really going to be able to show us? How much of it's going to be quality? And are they going to be able to sell the idea to people that the Wii U is something they have to own, that the gamepad isn't just a gimmick, and yada yada, so on and so forth. So other than this little opening spiel, I'm not entirely 100% prepared here. I got some free time. I thought I'd fly off the cuff a little bit. So here we go. Some of my impressions. If I miss anything that they had discussed this week, I apologize. But this more or less covers most of the big announcements, I would think. Just to start off with a little bit of a surprise, I am a big fan of Kirby. Yes, I know it is a cutesy, wootsy little franchise, but I've been playing that game pretty much since the original Game Boy, the original Kirby game. Okay, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was easy. You know, for somebody at the age that I was at when I came out, which is pretty young. I was still in, you know, elementary school, and it was something I enjoyed a lot. It was fun, you know, and that's pretty much what the franchise remained throughout the course of time. Very, very simple, but a lot of light-hearted fun. That's pretty much what Nintendo aims to provide with a lot of their products, so I never had a problem with Kirby. I thought Return to Dreamland on the Wii was fantastic. I think the brand new Kirby's Triple Deluxe is also a pretty damn good game. Return to Dreamland a bit more memorable for me, but Triple Deluxe was still a lot of fun through and through, and the 3D on that was fantastic. But I have a problem with the game that they revealed for the Wii U. And my problem is that it's not the right Kirby game for the Wii U. Nintendo, my God, why? The thing that really, really has me steaming right now over this reveal is that Triple Deluxe is very much the same gameplay-wise as Kirby's Return to Dreamland. You know, the 2D side-scroller stuff that you know, hit buttons to jump with and use a, you know, directional pad to move around with or whatever. But this is a sequel to Kirby's Canvas Curse, which was a Nintendo DS game, which was fun in its own right, but basically Kirby is kind of like this little ball and he's rolling around the entire time. And what you have to do is you have to take your stylus, pen, whatever the hell you want to call it, and you have to draw ramps for him, basically, so that he keeps his momentum, keeps barreling through the bad guys and whatever it is that he has to do to get from point A to point B. That's all well and good, but they should have put Triple Deluxe on the Wii U, and they should have had this new Rainbow Curse game on the 3DS. What this means for the Wii U iteration now, though, the Rainbow Curse title, is that you're going to have to be staring at the gamepad the entire time so that you can see where Kirby's going and so you can draw the path that he needs to take. I've got a big screen. It's right back there. I've got a big screen TV hanging up on the wall. I want to use it for gaming. That's why I buy home video game consoles, because I want to use them for the home, not on the go. I want to enjoy my TV. So they take the game that you need a stylus and a gamepad or whatever to draw with, and they put it on the home console, and they don't put it on the handheld. What are you doing? What are you doing? My kid's going to love it. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of fun with it, because I'm not saying that it's going to be a bad game. I mean, Kirby's Canvas Curse on the Nintendo DS was a fun game. I enjoyed it. It was perfect for a handheld. How they ended up getting crisscrossed for Rainbow Curse and Triple Deluxe like that, I don't know. It's disappointing to me, to say the least. So there's that. Next is Yoshi's Woolly World. I'm actually really stoked about this title too. Yeah, it's another little cutesy-wootsy game, and actually the original Yarn-type game was actually Kirby's Epic Yarn. And although that was even easier than most of the other Kirby games that have been released, you know, like Return to Dreamland and whatnot, it was still a lot of fun, and it was an interesting concept. They had teased Yoshi's Epic Yarn, or Yoshi's Yarn, or whatever they were calling it. They teased it a long time ago, and everybody had kind of thought that, oh, crap, this is either stuck in development hell, or they canceled it, or whatever, and Nintendo's they're just not telling us what's going on. So, but here we are. Here it is. It's got an official gameplay trailer. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks really cool. The whole yarn fabric kind of thing looks a lot better in HD than I think it did on the Wii iteration of Kirby's Epic Yarn, even though that looked great. So yeah, that's up there on my list. I mean, really, Nintendo has a pretty, for just going for mostly first-party stuff here, they've got an impressive list of stuff here. One thing that I'm not personally interested is Pokemon. I'm sorry, it's just not my thing, and it's not that I don't think the games aren't fun. I do like the whole kind of Poke Battle kind of thing that they have in place. Matter of fact, on the PlayStation 3, one of my favorite games in 2013 was Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, and it had a kind of similar battle system, although you got to control, you know, 3 human beings, and each of them had, you know, characters they could spit out to battle for them, kind of like Pokemon. So I enjoy that gameplay aspect, but I'm just not a Pokemon fan personally. I don't watch the show. I never did, even when I was younger. So it's not something I'm really into, so I stay away from it. But they did announce some Pokemon remakes that a lot of people are excited for, the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire editions. And I think it's probably going to sell like bananas. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't it? People love Pokemon, and it's pretty much up there as some of the top sellers on the handheld systems and everything. So sure, that's going to be great for Nintendo. One thing that I'm personally really stoked for is Bayonetta 2. Wow, that game looks like a lot of crazy, ridiculous, over-the-top insanity, and I mean that in the best possible way. I'm really bad with the word mix-ups there lately. Yeah. This is what it's like to bomb, ladies and gentlemen. But Bayonetta 2 looks like a lot of fun. I tried playing it on the PS3, and I played through it a bit. But I didn't buy it until sometime like a year ago, and I was hearing a lot of rumors about Bayonetta 2, and the PS3 version left a lot to be desired just because it wasn't optimized properly, even if you did a hard drive install of the game, which is something that fixes some of the loading time issues. It doesn't fix like some of the gameplay lag and screen tearing. So I heard that they might release Bayonetta as kind of like a digital download before Bayonetta 2 was released. And it turns out what they're actually going to do is include the original Bayonetta with Bayonetta 2. That's pretty amazing. I totally would have expected the original game to, go up on, the Nintendo shop and charge money for it. But nope, we're just going to get it ported for free, as long as we buy Bayonetta 2, of course. The gameplay was really tight and fun. The story was ridiculous. The characters were ridiculous. But whatever. It's all about having fun, and there was actually kind of a nice like layering to the combos that you would do in battle. It wasn't really just a button masher. So I am interested to see if they watered that down at all for Bayonetta 2. I'm going to say probably not. I think it's probably going to be just as layered as ever. I'm really excited for this game. I mean, if you haven't seen the gameplay trailers, man. I guess they're throwing in some additional stuff for Bayonetta 2, like cosplay options for the main character. I see them dress up as the main girl there, dress up as the main character from Metroid that everybody loves, and Link from the Legend of Zelda. So, not really my thing. I don't really care about that sort of thing. It's not like, woohoo, pre-order bonus or something like that. Pre-order bonuses I don't really care for all that much, and I'm not even really sure if that is a pre-order bonus. If it's a fun thing that they're doing, great, then it's nice, because, I mean, it's not going to appear on any other consoles, because if it wasn't for Nintendo, realistically, because they've pretty much fronted the operation, and by that I mean they're publishing the game themselves. They paid for development as far as I know. So without them, Bayonetta 2 would not exist. So to throw in some cute little Nintendo things like that, it's okay, but I could take it or leave it. One of the releases that they mentioned was a complete surprise to me this year, and I'm really not sure how I feel about it. It's called Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. If you played Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U, there were certain levels, or I think it might have only been like one level in each world, maybe two on occasion, where you had to be Toad and you kind of had to move the gamepad around to kind of circumnavigate through this little cube-like maze so that Toad can get from point A to point B where the treasure was. And it was a fun little breakaway from the normal platforming that the rest of the game gave us. It was almost kind of like a mini game, even though it was its own little self-contained stage on each map. I guess they're turning this into a full-fledged game. I could be wrong, so if I am, whatever, I'm wrong. I got the impression, and I thought I've seen other people say online, that it's going to be like a full retail game. I really, really, really hope that's not the case, because it was fine as a minigame, but if you stretch that out and just make that into an entire game, I don't really see how that's going to hold me and satisfy me. What they should do is that they should make a game of this mini-game style gameplay and sell it on the eShop for like $20. If they're going to charge $50, $60 for this, though, I'm just not interested. That's all that is. Of course, the one title that most people are really looking forward to, if you're an RPG fan, that is Xenoblade Chronicles X. And I don't even really think I need to say any more than that. As far as RPGs are concerned, the original game on the Wii was just immaculate. It was very well done in every aspect. The story, the soundtrack, just everything about it was great. If you haven't picked up that game and played it, you really, really need to. And I know there was a thing for a while where it was really rare, you couldn't find it. Well, thanks to your local GameStop, it's not so rare anymore. And I'm kind of rolling my eyes about that because there's some shady business behind that. But I'm going to be covering that somewhere at some point. Wink, wink, nod, nod. It was a really terrible wink. I don't really have a lot of practice at winking at people. I apologize. I'm married, and I have been for over a decade, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm out of practice. Not that I ever had the balls to wink at anybody anyway. So Xenoblade Chronicles X, that is a game that you're going to want to pick up. Absolutely. It's going to end up being one of the best games on the Wii U. I'm calling it right now. Mario Party 10, it's a fun party-style kind of game. I'm not really big into the Mario Party stuff. Smash Brothers, though, also starring our favorite little mustachioid little man. Smash Brothers is going to sell like crazy. I mean, it's almost probably going to be like Nintendo's giving the game away. There are so many people that are so excited for Super Smash Brothers, and I am not one of them. I'm sorry. Smash Brothers, for me, I don't know what it is. When they first started coming out with the Smash Brothers games, a lot of the appeal was that, oh, yeah, you could play with, like, you know, your friends, and you could have, like, up to 4 people playing at the same time, kicking each other's butts. The gameplay looked fun to me, but the problem with it was that pretty much all my life, when I got together with my friends, I hung out with my friends. I wasn't really gaming all that much with my friends. And if I was, that was earlier in life, in the NES and SNES era, and not so much the N64 and GameCube, where a lot of the friends that I had just really weren't up on gaming. So I watched a lot of people play Smash Brothers, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. I'm going to buy Smash Brothers, and I'm going to take it home, and I'm going to have a lot of fun. And I didn't have a lot of fun. And the problem was that, you know, back then on those consoles, there wasn't really such a thing as multiplayer online. Did I say multiplayer? Multiplayer? Jesus God, what's wrong with me today? There wasn't such thing as that back then, though. And sorry for shaking the camera there. And playing by myself was just really dull and boring and tedious, and I just didn't get any enjoyment out of it. I tried it again on the GameCube, no dice. So I've stayed away from the franchise ever since. I don't care for it, and really, as far as a fighter is concerned, I had pretty much mastered Street Fighter and the Mortal Kombat games back in the SNES days, and for me, it didn't really feel like that strong of a fighting game anyway. So that's just my take on it. I know I'm going to get lots and lots of hate for that. I can feel the daggers right now. So, yeah. Also, with Mario, something that is very cool for a lot of people and even intrigues me a little bit, even though I'm not the kind of person that likes to buy games that allow me to kind of build stuff or make things. Just because when it comes to like making stuff like levels, I'm not really all that creative, and mostly anything I would design that anybody would ever try and pick up and play would be terrible. But Mario Maker is coming out. It's been rumored for a while. A lot of people were kind of on the edge of their seats waiting to see, is this something that's actually happening or not? And it is. And basically you can make your own Mario levels, and there's going to be the online integration stuff, so I think, you know, people you know can play your levels and whatnot. The whole 9 yards, basically. It's sort of like Mario, you know, making Mario levels in sort of the same way you would make stuff in like Disney Infinity and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Although I believe it's all side-scrolling. It's not going to be kind of like a three-dimensional world like Disney Infinity. Just using that as an example, though. Shifting gears a little bit away from Mario, there is a couple of Zelda games coming. The first one of which is going to be Hyrule Warriors. You know, the Dynasty Warrior games are pretty fun. and I think Hyrule Warriors is going to be a bit of fun too. But for me, I'm not really sure I'm going to pick this one up and spend a lot of time playing with it, even if I did pick it up. There's a lot of other games coming out this year between the PlayStation 4 and some other stuff on the Wii U that I want to get, and then, so I don't know if I'm even going to have time to play this one, but it looks like it's great for what it is. And I guess they announced there's going to be 9 playable characters in the game. I think announcing this and showing off what it's all about is a win for Nintendo. I think it's going to get a lot of Nintendo fans happy, but I don't really think this is going to reach a lot of people outside of the Nintendo demographic, I guess I'll call it. And I think that's probably what a problem with a lot of this stuff on this list is. I think it's going to appeal to Nintendo fans by and large, but everybody else, I'm not really sure most of the games on this list are going to end up pushing consoles. One that will, though, is The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda looks great. We didn't really see all that much, but one of the things that we've really sort of heard a lot of complaints about over the years, one of the things that we've been missing from Zelda is the fact that even if it was an open world, like in Ocarina of Time, your journey was guided somewhat. Yeah, there were people you could talk to and quests that you could do for them, run over to this town and grab me something and bring it back, and I'll give you this chicken so that it can lay an egg, and then you can bring it. And at the right time of day, the egg will hatch, and then whatever will happen. Little stuff like that. But as far as the story was concerned, your missions, your quests, going from temple to temple, where you had to go, it was done in a succession that almost couldn't be broken. I know that later on in the game there's a couple of temples that you can play through that you could interchange. It makes things a lot more difficult if you do. It's possible, but that free roam, do anything and figure things out yourself experience from the earlier games like the original The Legend of Zelda, or I guess to a lesser degree Link to the Past, even though that was still open world, and hey, have at it, just do what you're going to do, figure some stuff out, even though we'll kind of show you where to go on the map. This is going to be a bit like those games, except it's going to be, I'm assuming, third person, kind of like the games that came before it, like Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, whatever. But the world itself is going to be open, and you should be able to roam around and do what you want and tackle things in the order that you want. So basically, for lack of a better comparison right now, everybody's saying it's like The Legend of Zelda meets Skyrim, and that's great, because without a game like The Legend of Zelda a long time ago, who knows if we would have a game like Skyrim right now. I'm sure there's a lot of years in video game history, so I'm sure we probably would, but I'm just saying, it's like the granddaddy of adventure games in that respect. So I am really, really excited for this one. I am a big Zelda fan, even though they kind of most of the time have no idea what they're doing with the storyline, and they've convoluted it so much over the years that even they don't really have a good explanation, even though they tried by putting out a book, but even that thing has some plot holes in it, but whatever. I'm really excited to play this game. The only concern that I have, and yes, I do have a concern, A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS basically took the old map from the SNES game, A Link to the Past, put it in that game, in the new game, A Link Between Worlds, and instead of kind of doing the same thing, they said, you know what? What if we just open up this experience? You can go to whatever dungeon you want and tackle the game that way. It was a great idea, and the game was a lot of fun. However, because you didn't necessarily have to work in one dungeon to obtain a treasure item that would be useful in another dungeon later on, you were able to rent these items. The game was really easy. The dungeons were fast and fun. They were plentiful, though, and I did have a lot of fun playing the game, but I don't want that to happen. in a Skyrim Zelda game. I want there to be challenge in certain areas. You know, I kind of want to feel like, well, pretty much like the original Legend of Zelda game on NES. You know, you could kind of walk up that path a little bit and go to that first dungeon inside the old, you know, monster face tree there, and it was, you know, not all that difficult. It let you kind of establish your sea legs a little bit and kind of straighten yourself out and get used to the controls and, you know, battling and, you know, not getting yourself killed. And as you went from, you know, level 1, level 2, level 3, or whatever, it got progressively harder. You could tackle some of the harder dungeons later on if you wanted to. More than likely you'd get your ass handed to, but you could do it. So that's kind of what I'd like to see here. Please don't make it all too easy. That is all the time I have right now. I have to help someone out with some stuff. The groceries have arrived. So basically, Nintendo, what you need to do is, I'm going to have to continue this at another time. I guess part 2 is coming, fellas. Bye-bye.